Hey everybody. Looks like I can play the LL67 midseason classic, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Um, we got 12 questions today, so let's get to it. Get to talk a little bit about moneying the or about how to money a one day as well, which is a little different experience from defending. So that should be interesting. All right. Question one. The Ausgleich of 1867 created the dual monarchy, in which Magyar nationalists gained their own autonomous parliament while remaining under the imperial rule of what royal family? Um, Magyars are from Hungary, and in that period, I think it's fairly well known that Austria and Hungary were together. Austria was, of course, ruled by, much like Spain was for a very long time, the Habsburgs. Habsburgs with a B or a P, doesn't matter, should be the same one. Okay. Question two. The Matterhorn provides the logo and, according to one theory, the shape for what chocolate brand? Okay. Well, Matterhorn is a Swiss mountain. And I'm fairly sure that if you want a chocolate bar that looks like a mountain, you would think of your triangle, which is probably a Toblerone. Excuse me. Didn't mean to cough on you all. Yeah, so that should be a Toblerone. I think that one's fairly easy. I think Habsburgs is, kind of going to be in the middle. Part of the challenge here is we're not defending against A Rundlers anymore, so you can't necessarily rate stuff entirely based on how canonical it is for people who play a lot of trivia. You have to kind of move what your rating is. So question 3. Ozone, Special K, and turbocharged onto the silver screen in a low-budget 1984 movie. In terms of lasting pop cultural impact, this first film was a mere prelude to its sequel, released the following year. What is the sequel's oft-parodied full title? Okay, well, the good news is that 1 year for Halloween on Homestar Runner, the character Strong Bad dressed up as Ozone from Breakin'. Breakin' is a movie about breakdancing. Of course, the sequel to that is Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, which is indeed an oft-parodied title. So that's a nice confirmation there. This is just pure trash knowledge. I have never seen Breakin'. I've heard that I should see Breakin' or Breakin' 2. Just haven't gotten around to it. I'm going to put a check mark on that one to start with. I think there will be, although, it is kind of one of those titles that gets bandied about a lot, I still think there are a lot of people who have never heard of it. And I definitely think there are a lot of people who are not going to be able to come up with what's going on here, since it didn't even say anything about dancing. Anyway, question 4. The GMC Sierra, for its entire production history, has largely been identical to what sister model sold under the Chevrolet badge. Well, I've known at least one person in my life who's owned a GMC Sierra. It's a big pickup. And the big Chevy pickup that would be the same is the Chevy Silverado. I don't know. See a lot of commercials for Silverados. I have no idea how hard that is. My guess is it's kind of hard because people will guess that the Sierra could be a lot of different things. They might end up saying a Chevy like Tahoe or something else like that. So that may get a check mark too. Although he first appeared on film, question 5, the character Mars Blackman is probably most associated with the marketing of what product in appearances with the product's namesake. This is fun, more trash. This is Mars Blackman's Spike Lee appearing in commercials for Air Jordans. Those commercials were great. They were kind of stylish, like black and white. Mars Blackman was kind of nerdy but cool in a weird way. Yeah, I thought those commercials were great. And yeah, pretty well known, I think. 6. Discoveryland, Disneyland Paris's version of Tomorrowland, is heavily influenced by the writings of a certain 19th century French author, probably Jules Verne. I actually know it's Jules Verne because Disneyland Paris I read up on once. As evidenced by a partially submerged exhibit exploring Le Mystère du What fictional vessel. All right. Well, actually, Disney World at least used to have a 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride, and this is partially submerged. I assume this is the Mysteries of the Nautilus, which is the submarine from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And yeah, it just makes a lot of sense for it to be that. My guess is that people will, for the most part, kind of see through the Jules Verne thing. The question then is, how many people would know Nautilus if it came up just as a relatively blank question? Like, what submarine did Jules Verne write about? I think it's a decent percentage of people. So anyway, question 7. Cop lights, flashlights, spotlights, strobe lights, and street lights are among all of the lights listed in a hip-hop single from 2010 released by what artist? That's All of the Lights by Kanye West. That's a very good song. Quite a good song. I'm going to go ahead and leave that for now. This is another situation where we're talking about recent hip-hop, and both of those things tend to dodge a certain percentage of the viewing audience. That said, I've heard All of the Lights on the radio before, and it showed up on like the Sing Off. So I'm not convinced it's going to be an obvious one to money, although usually I would money rap questions against the general audience, depending on how hard some of the like art, classical music, other stuff are. Okay. The abaca, also known as Manila hemp, from which comes the Manila envelope, is one commercial species of the Musa genus. Members of the Musa genus, most especially the very heavily cultivated triploid AAA group of Musa acuminata, are commonly known by what name? Well, this is I assume like a drugs question. The answer isn't hemp. I think, if this question had been included slightly differently, I might have thought to say hemp. Triploid AAA group. I mean, this has got to be something like cannabinoids, or I don't think it's marijuana. Is there something else that is similar to that but isn't actually marijuana? Because I know that hemp and marijuana are kind of in the same family. But maybe that's not really true. Because hemp kind of grows like viney, and I don't think that marijuana does, but I'm not sure what else to. I'm not sure what else to think here. Maybe I'll have to come back to that one. Okay. After having been lent to the United States in 1962, its first departure from France since its notorious 1911 theft, and second since its final refinement in 1517, it has since left the country one additional time to visit Tokyo and Moscow in 1974. What is this famous object? This question is very, very hidden. The notorious 1911 theft, though, very nicely, I wrote a question on that recently, and it was stolen. This item was stolen from the Louvre. This is the Mona Lisa. And the 1517 thing helps me confirm that, because that means it's a piece of Renaissance art, which I think, people will figure out that it was maybe a piece of Renaissance art, if not some sort of designed object. But that is pretty tricky. The good news is I saw the 1911 thing. In fact, it was a museum worker who stole the painting. It ended up being returned because I think, the heat was on him or something like that. But there's a lot of fun stories about this, including that he sort of maybe tried to frame Picasso for the theft, which is interesting. So anyway, um, question 10. Yeah, that one's probably going to get a checkbox just because it doesn't even. Okay. Okay. All right. Miles is going upstairs. Anyway, question 10. While all of Ludwig van Beethoven's 9 completed symphonies are referred to by number, some are also referred to by name. His ninth is the Choral Symphony. Oh, Thorsten. What are the common names for both his 3rd and 6th symphonies? Okay. Well, yeah, these two are maybe the two most famous names. Beethoven's 3rd is Eroica. That comes up in trivia all the time. I would say slightly less often than that. Is the 6th, but that is the Pastoral Symphony. I know Eroica a little bit. I don't know that I've really ever heard the 6th, at least not outside of, like, I don't know, incidental music and Looney Tunes if I have, but I don't really know the 6th that well. Beethoven's 5th, of course, very famous. But yeah, that those are, for those of you who do look to these videos for educational value, I would say, given that, Beethoven has few symphonies, Beethoven questions come up all the time, and names are definitely an easy way to ask verbal questions about classical music. These things tend to come up disproportionately, perhaps, to how important they are. And so this is definitely something to remember. This is also worth doing for a variety of other, symphony type artists. Okay. Question 11. Identify the man driving this vehicle. Oh, hey, it's NASCAR. All right. This is the 2014 Sprint Cup Series champion. All right. I basically don't care about NASCAR, despite being from the South. But one thing I've noticed just in the last few years is that, well, various bar trivia, but also Thorsten, love to just ask the question, who won the Sprint Cup, or what used to be the Winston Cup last year. This case, I also do happen to know the car numbers a little bit. I don't know why these tend to stick with me just on SportsCenter or whatever. But yeah, this is definitely Kevin Harvick. And he won, and he won. He won, and B isn't Jimmy Johnson. So for those two reasons, he may be a little more tricky. Also going to put a de facto check there on the Beethoven symphonies. I think, the fact there is just that having to name them both, and with Pastoral being a decent bit harder than Choral, I think we're going to go ahead and put that there. All right, question 12. What common two-word phrase from the Catholic rite confiteor, I confess, traditionally follows these lines? My Latin is horrible, but we'll say it anyway. Quia peccavi nimis cogitatione verbo opere et omissione. Okay. This is what you say at the end there is, it is my fault, or, whatever. I believe that's what you're saying. It's my fault, but I know that what comes next is a relatively common two-word phrase, which is mea culpa, my bad. The 90s translation, my bad. I think that will be tricky for people too, just because I think a lot of people won't know it at all, and that's, Latin. So I am happy with these monies. I think these are all slightly harder than some other things. I don't think most people will be around since Yeah, so I'm happy with that. I do really want to figure out what this abakai is. Um, I can't. It's hard for me to think. It's certainly not opioids. I don't think this is like. I don't think it's like tobacco, is it? Maybe. Could be something like that. Triploid AAA group, though. All right, we're gonna try cannabinoids. I may be missing something obvious here. Um, yeah, I'm very, very happy with these monies. I think only something like 20% of Learned League pay attention to NASCAR. Harvick, a little trickier than some others. So yeah, that'll probably be worth a decent bit of points. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and submit. We'll see what happened here. Habsburg, yay. Toblerone, Break Into, Silverado, Air Jordans, Nike Air Jordans, the Nautilus, Kanye, bananas. Sheesh. What? Musa? Have I ever known that bananas are called Musa? That's funny. All right. Mona Lisa, Eroica, Harvick, mea culpa. Interesting. Okay. Well, we missed one. We didn't money it. I have no idea if that's going to be a tougher question. That may well be a tougher question than one of the ones we got right, in which case we're probably not going to finish in the top 40. Nevertheless, I'm sort of happy with 11 out of 12. Now that I'm looking at it, like maybe I've heard that the banana genus is Musa before. I don't. I'm not 100% sure though. So anyway, thanks for playing, everybody.